Alright, so today I'm back with yet another chapter review, and today we will go over chapter 287, which is going to be something really special, as this could be considered one of the saddest chapters we have gotten this entire year. However, it's not only sadness, as we will see both ISAGI and Kaiser completely dominating the field against both Shido and Rin, who made a super random team up in this chapter. Before lastly, someone gets their dreams completely broken by none other than the head coach of Bastard Munchen, Noah. But I don't want to say anymore, so you will just have to sit back and watch to find out what happens. Anyway, before jumping into it, please leave a like and comment, as well as join the Discord server down in the comments. But anyway, with that out of the way, let's get into it. So for chapter 287, also called Because You Were Here, we get right into the action, as the ball is flying high up through the sky. Everyone is keeping their eyes on the ball, as they want to be the hero to reach it first. After that, we see God ISAGI, who is glowing like crazy, as he says that the coordination logic Kaiser and himself were using can be just barely stopped by other exceptionally talented learners, and this time he is referring to both Charles and Karasu, and because of that, ISAGI knows better than anyone that they can't get a goal using normal means. After that, he starts to sprint, and we can clearly see his puzzle pieces starting to resolve and change up after him. Anyway, he tells himself to stop thinking and to change it up instead. He knows that he doesn't need feelings as he has abandoned those, but now what he has to do is ring out an idea of how to get past Karasu and Charles, to finally then take home this victory. The one who got the ball was none other than Zantetsu, who trapped it wonderfully with his chest, while having Ness clinging onto him and Kunigami to the side. Even so, Zantetsu is determined not to let this chance slip, so he calls out for a table-turning counter, and with this, he sends away the ball towards Shido while telling him to just end this already, and calling him a demon bastard. It looks like Shido is straight up flying through the air as he meets up with the ball. Anyway, the first thing he says when he reaches the ball is that he's gotta come, and I don't want to speculate exactly what he means by that, but he is the freak of Blue Lock for a reason. Anyway, he gets a slight smirk as he asks his team if they will hate him if he takes too long. However, Shido faces trouble right off the bat as Reichi, Hiyori, and Kiora come forward and are set on stopping him. Reichi declares to Shido that they will be the ones to put him down. Anyway, this panel is actually kind of funny for some reason, as Shido has all three of them around him, and they are just locking him into place with their triple press. However, for some reason, Shido isn't too fazed by this, as he just smiles and says that he's got plenty of ideas, as he sends the ball backward to none other than the other monster in PXG, Itoshi Rin, who is just as shocked as I am by Shido's pass. Reichi then looks back in pure shock, saying that Shido passed to Rin. While everyone is distracted by Shido's play, he uses this chance to get out of their press without any trouble. After that, he says that if their aces are teaming up, then Rin and Shido should team up as well, also giving Rin a cute little nickname, which I'm sure he will hate. Anyway, we don't get an answer to Shido's team-up request right off the bat, as it looks like Rin is frozen in shock. However, his peace of mind gets interrupted as both Karasu and Charles comes on either side of him. Karasu tells him to let him help and calls him a dumbass, while Charles says that PXG is super evolving and says a devil emoji like the weirdo he is. Hiyori looks at this in shock and asks if they are for real this time, and Kiora, beside him, admits that he never saw this coming. After that, Rin honestly really shows off against Hiyori as he makes a backheel chip over to Karasu behind him, who follows up with a light tap pass over to Charles. Charles doesn't waste any time either as he makes a backheel pass to Shido with his signature devil's emoji, and Shido dashes towards it and reaches it just in time. And I just love how flawless and fast PXG's passing looks. It's oddly satisfying to look at. Anyway, after that, we see the rat who has come in Shido's way and is standing before him. He screams that this is the end of the line and also goes on with this three treasures bullshit. He looks determined and tells Shido to just come on, while in his head he is thinking that he will stop him no matter what and then become the hero. Shido looks more furious and more devious than usual, which is hard to top. Anyway, with a dark aura around him, he asks the rat if he really thinks that someone like him can stop Shido. Shido then shifts the ball between his feet before breaking out in an insane chop cross, which makes him fly through the rat while telling him to try it in another life. However, all of the praying finally pays off as he somehow manages to throw himself back and catch Shido's shoulder. Even Shido is amazed by this, while of course being extremely annoyed. Anyway, as he is falling to the ground, he manages to get a pass in the last second and says that they can't stop his explosion. The pass has an insane curve to it as it's heading towards the goal area where none other than the #1 striker lies in wait. Rin's rage aura is out as well as his tongue. The rat, who looks lost in despair, screams at them to stop him, and that's when we see two small panels of both Isagi and Kaiser, who say, "Now and right here." And we can see that they managed to pinpoint the exact moment as they reached Rin, and were able to tackle him away from the ball. And let me just say that Isagi and Kaiser's team up is so insanely sick. Anyway, Rin is in total awe by this, as he thinks that the shitty rose blocked him to slow down his movement. And Isagi used that moment to steal away the ball, and is asking himself if their thinking is perfectly in sync. Anyway, the ball falls high up and goes out of bounds. Gagamaru compliments them and calls them the Brainiac Duo, saying that this is their ball. We then see Isagi, who is out of breath and kneeling on the field. After that, he says that Shido's and Rin's teamwork is too shallow, just like how they can't become special by pulling off their genius moves. You geniuses can't beat those talented learners when it comes to logical coordination. After that, both Kaiser and Isagi go into demon mode as they look wilder and cooler than ever. They tell them to keep playing crazy soccer, and that they will never be able to outsmart them, which leaves both Shido and Rin visibly frustrated. Anyway, that's when the announcer goes off. It says that there was a malicious foul during the previous play, and that the play continued because PXG was at an advantage, but Gurimu Igarashi will receive a yellow card. His first shock as he hears this, but then he becomes visibly angry and scared before someone on the side says that he is out. It's none other than the stone statue Noel Noah, who says that Rin has already seen through his plot of throwing his body into him to make him get a foul, and that his other abilities aren't enough to cut it at this level, telling Igarashi to take a seat before he wrecks this game. It looks like everything freezes for Igarashi before he screams that he can still fight, saying that he will be worthless if he gets swapped out now as he doesn't have a salary value, and that if he doesn't play more, then it's all over for him. He looks lost as he screams at Noah to just give him one last chance. But before he can even finish his sentence, Noah tells him to take a seat and that his theory is utterly lacking in logic. He continues and says that their objective is to win, and that's it. Noah doesn't need anyone on the field who's not necessary for that. He then looks actually scary as he, for the last time, tells Igarashi to take a seat and that his time is over. Igarashi then falls down to the floor and his whole body feels heavier than ever before. He looks lost as he wonders if it's really over and if his soccer life and his dream have come to a stop. After that, someone places his hand on Igarashi's round head. Igarashi, while crying his eyes out, looks up and sees the goat Isagi. Isagi then tells Igarashi that he is only here because he was here. After that, we see some small puzzle pieces with some moments they shared together as Isagi looks more determined than ever as he tells Igarashi that he is glad that he was the 300th player, and this only makes Igarashi cry even more as he feels completely lost. Now the next chapter will be called Death Game, which might indicate that we are in the final stages of this game, which I would honestly be happy for, as even though how exciting this game is at times, it's a bit long now. I feel like it would have been better if they added some highlights from the Manshine City and FC Barca match in here and there, but I guess that they are saving it as a surprise in the end. Anyway, now let's talk about this crazy chapter. Firstly, it was kinda interesting and cool to see the teamwork between Rin and Shido, even though Isagi roasted them in the end. However, I'm unsure if they will continue it after this, or not, as Isagi said that they weren't cut out for it, as their teamwork was too shallow, and I much more believe that they will go back to their individual playstyle after this chapter, rather than teaming up, even though I would be really excited for a Rin and Shido team up. Anyway, I feel like we have to talk about how smooth and coordinated Isagi and Kaiser are with each other. They were able to read and counter like it was no problem at all, and they looked so cool doing it as well. Definitely giving them style points for this. Also kinda wanna admit that I thought that it was gonna be a corner in the next chapter, as I missed the part where Gagamaru said that it was their ball, which was kinda embarrassing. But anyway, then this panel is wild. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but I fully believe that this might be up there with my top 5 favorite panels of this series, as Isagi and Kaiser are looking absolute crazy as they are just roasting Rin and Shido. Now lastly, and the most groundbreaking thing in this chapter, is, of course, Igarashi's sub out. In my leaks video, I fully believed that it was over for him. However, then someone commented that he actually could get an offer and still get into a club, but just not be in Blue Lock anymore, as I can't see him being anywhere near the top 23 players, which was the threshold for them to hit. Now if he somehow manages to pull this off and comes into the top 23 players, then fair enough, but I just can't see that happening. I would love to hear what you think will happen to Igarashi, and if you believe that it's done for him or not. Now if I'm honest, then Noah was kind of cold in this chapter. I have a really big love-hate relationship with him, but he was actually very cool in this chapter. Some people said that he was mean for changing out Igarashi, but I feel like that's his only choice because what if Igarashi gives himself another yellow card and Bastard Munchen goes down a player? Then they could ultimately lose the game because of that. So even if it were harsh, Noah did the right thing without a doubt. And I kind of enjoyed how cold and emotionless he was about it, really showcasing how much he only cares about winning this game and nothing more. But then the follow-up question comes, and we have to think about who will enter in his place. Now, in my leaks video, I said either Corona or Yukimiya, but a lot of comments said Neru, who I would absolutely love, as even though he has barely any screen time, he is a character I really enjoy. But I feel like even if he is able to enter here, he won't make it into the top 23 players, which makes me a bit sad, as he hasn't played a single game yet in the Neo Egoist League. But I'm really hoping that he goes in for Igarashi. But if it isn't him, then I, of course, would love for it to be Corona. But with Ness, Hiyori, and Kiora already being in play, I find it highly unlikely, so I'm leaning most towards Yukimiya being the one to take Igarashi's place. But I doubt that he will have time to make something major now that the game is in its final phase. And if you like Blue Lock and videos like this, then I would highly suggest you subscribe to this channel, and while you are at it, leave a comment and a like, as it helps out with the algorithm a ton. And if you are curious to see another video of mine, then please watch the video that will be popping up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye.